So Xbox gamers have been a bit down the dumps lately, and one of the reasons for that is that the CMA have blocked this Activision Blizzard deal that we can just never stop talking about, and that's one of the reasons that's kind of a frustrating thing, is because they blocked that side and you can't get Diablo and COD on Game Pass. Now, if you want the deal not to go through, then fine, whatever. That is all cool and dandy, but you might have a big update on that because one of the 3 people that were really investigating this and giving it a hard time has now approved it. Yes, Europe has now announced that they have approved the ABK deal. And previously, when they approved the ZeniMax deal, Microsoft officially announced Bethesda joining Xbox the following day. Now, is that going to happen here? Probably not. But just in context, that happened before. But it's not going to happen this time because now this is really complicated. The EU has approved the deal and the CMA, aka the UK, United Kingdom, have blocked it. So where does that leave us? First, I want to sum up what the European Commission said, and then it turns out the CMA actually had a reply to this. That's kind of crazy. So the Commission's investigation at the EU found that basically this has no impact on hardware console competition, which is pretty much what everybody has boiled it down to, maybe except the FTC. But yeah, console, hardware, PlayStation, you're gonna be fine. So get out of here. They found that there is literally no incentive for Microsoft to make Activision games not come to Sony. What they're more worried about, like the CMA, is cloud competition and also their strength in PC rising. There's no case anymore that PlayStation can bring up. They're out of this conversation. At this point, it is purely all about cloud gaming. So please, PlayStation, give us that showcase soon and just do what you do best. Stop complaining. Just do what you do best. But the EU also found that Activision had really no expressive intent to put any of their games on like subscriptions or cloud services. So this move would basically make that happen. So they think that this could actually really help grow and expand the cloud market as long as they are not exclusive to just Microsoft cloud gaming. So with that in mind, here's the part that you might care about, because this is actually, to me, the biggest note here: the remedies. The EU basically said this deal is totally going to be fine if you allow these licenses to play Activision games on any cloud platform, period. And whenever anybody buys an Activision Blizzard King game, they are allowed to play on those cloud platforms. We need to stop for a second to talk about that, because that's big. So basically, you know, one of the problems Google Stadia had was that you had to buy the game again. You not only had to be on the service, you had to buy the game again to play it. But what they're proposing here is if somebody buys Call of Duty Modern Warfare 75, they now not only have the power to play that physical copy or digital copy that they bought, but that also includes a license to play it on whatever cloud platform that you want, not just Microsoft Cloud Gaming. That's a big play. And that actually makes me wonder if PlayStation Now, is that still technically a cloud gaming thing? And if it is, then there you go. You could technically buy an Xbox game and play it on the PlayStation. Is that how that works? And so their reasoning behind basically approving this deal is stuff that has been very much preached by the people that want this deal to go through. And in my opinion, it's for very ethically and economically good reasons. One is these games would not have been on the cloud before, but now they will. 2, it actually encourages cloud gaming by bringing people on to the platform by enticing them with Activision games, and a very little barrier of entry too. And I'm just going to read this one verbatim, what they said. Ultimately, the commitments will unlock significant benefits for competition and consumers by bringing Activision games to new platforms, including smaller EU players and more devices than before. They also said cloud games streaming service providers gave positive feedback and showed interest in the licenses, which is true. Literally the day after or the day of the CMA blocking this deal because of cloud gaming reasons, we actually saw like tweets and stuff from cloud service providers saying, no, this won't harm us. We want this to happen so we can thrive. And exactly those quotes, with their third reason being the free licenses to the cloud competitors gives more opportunities for innovation in that technology that, you know, it is growing. It is growing. It's not quite there yet, but they think that this move is something that will actually make that industry thrive more and make competitors be more motivated to, hey, Let's improve that. Let's grow here. Let's make this more thriving. Because with Activision games on all our platforms, now it's just our job to make sure our platform's really good. If we all have the same catalog. And with that, one of the three big players that either opposed or wanted to look into this deal has now approved it. But another one of those three players was the CMA, and it's kind of crazy that they put a reply to this as if they are just a person on Twitter instead of a government body. I'll try to put the tweets on screen here, but basically they confirm, which we all are aware of now, that the US, UK, and EU, as those three people that were really concerned about this deal, their biggest concern now is cloud gaming. It is no longer the console stuff. So on that, they can agree, but what they don't agree with the EU on is that they want this market to remain free as a bird. And with that, it'll drive more innovation and choice to help make that industry evolve. They believe that basically Microsoft will be setting the terms to so many conditions and such for the market in the next decade. And if this deal went through, Microsoft would require a lot of ongoing regulation between the games, platforms, and conditions to being on those platforms being met, and that would replace this free, open, competitive market that they see. But here is the EU just basically saying, we are okay doing that. We are okay making sure all these remedies are met, because in the end, it's going to make that industry thrive a lot more. Whereas the CMA is kind of saying, no, we don't want to make sure that happens, because not only are we going to have to regulate that, there are going to be things to regulate that they will have, which again, I get, but it makes you seem like you're lazy compared to the other guy that's like, no, this is fine. We'll regulate it. Now, the big question in the video though is what now? Because many countries have already approved. Hell, even Sony's very own Japan has approved. There's a lot of countries that have. But most eyes have been on the USA, the United Kingdom, EU, and China, which has just been completely silent this entire time. Because those are four of, if not the biggest gaming markets in the world. So if you're spending this much money on a deal, you would want to make sure that you can really promote stuff to those markets freely. And even though the EU approved the deal, which is very great hit again, the CMA still blocked it. And how Microsoft and Activision replied to that, they just made it seem like, man, the UK is just no longer open for business now. That's insane. To think of a world that this deal could go through and there's just going to be a lot of people in the United Kingdom that just don't get Diablo and Call of Duty on Game Pass and other things, and cloud services over there are not allowed to provide those games, like a new Crash Bandicoot. That's going to be wild if that is a reality that happens, and it's going to be because of the CMA. Because meanwhile, over in Europe, everybody's going to be like, all right, which cloud gaming thing do I want to play this on? And cool, I'll play Diablo 4 on Game Pass. I don't know how immediately that'll happen. I'm just bringing it up because I really want that. And there's a whole thing with the FTC, aka in America, that they are kind of suing to block the deal, basically. And the impression was that if the CMA and EU approved this deal, then the FTC just wouldn't have enough grounds to stand on and would take whatever freaking settlement that they can from Microsoft. Because there is a court hearing scheduled for August this year, but at any point before or after that could a settlement have been made. And a lot of people were hoping that if the EU and CMA approved it, then that's what would end up happening very, very soon. But could we soon be in a world that Microsoft just goes for the deal now that they have so much backing behind it? UK citizens basically don't get the whole Game Pass and cloud benefits, and they just say screw the FTC and go to court with them on very fair grounds. That could be a world we see very soon. We will have to wait and see. I personally am a bit iffy about that because it's literally a good game right now. You know, instead of just I won the first 2 rounds, we don't need a third round. Now it's like, we lost one, we won one, now what's gonna happen? So because the EU approved, unfortunately, this is not over yet. Am I evil in saying that there's a part of me that kind of wanted the EU to not approve the deal, because then they might have just given up and then we could be over this freaking hill already? But we will have to wait and see. We have the Xbox Game Showcase coming up. I'm looking forward to talking about what I expect to see and hope to see in that show with you soon. I have been Samurai Kibiji to speculate on games with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to be geek, be proud, be awesome.